Andrew Cuomo is a disgrace to Italians. Any Goomba that voted for this criminal psychopath should go get their heads examined. But like all demon rats do, I suspect his election was rigged, just like the 2016 election that attempted but failed to put a traitor and a pedivore into the Oval Office. They are pure evil, and the day of the purge is long overdue. I'm not going to say another word. Watch this.
Here's a great piece. Andrew Cuomo, Joe, celebrated by the media. He's an icon. Yeah. He is the FDR of our time. Andrew Cuomo, women love him, men want to be him. Not this guy. And I know my wife doesn't want anywhere near Andrew Cuomo. The guy's a disaster. Daily Wire. This is a real story. I have to say that because you read these headlines, you think this can't possibly be. No, it's real. New York required nursing homes to admit medically stable coronavirus patients. The results were deadly. Now, if you read the piece again at the show notes, bongino.com/newsletter, or you just go to the Daily Wire, this is not a joke. Andrew Cuomo's New York, this great leader, Joe, this great leader. This guy, this man, icon of American leadership and governing. His administration made nursing homes the most vulnerable people in the world right now, people in nursing homes, to this deadly respiratory virus, made them take active coronavirus patients. And if you read the story, Joe, I'm not messing with you. This is not hyperbole. Read the story. Apparently, along with the patients who were forced to be accepted into nursing homes, instead of being kept in containment and isolation in hospitals, not a joke, because it wouldn't be funny. They sent body bags with them. And they used them.
Holy smokes.
Not a joke. That would not be fun. We don't mess around. They sent body bags with them, which they subsequently used just weeks after they were admitted. Tell me again how great Andrew Cuomo is. Wrong on the hospital beds, wrong on the ventilators, wrong on the preparation side, wrong on the economy, sending patients to nursing homes. Andrew Cuomo, again, he's the FDR of our time. FDR wasn't the FDR of his time. Trust me, Andrew Cuomo, he's the RDF of our time. Really dopey.
And just in case you think Dan Bongino is kidding, I looked up the article on the Daily Wire. Here's the headline. New York required nursing homes to admit medically stable coronavirus patients. The results were deadly. Is that stunad disgraziad? On March 25th, New York's health department issued a mandate that state nursing homes could not refuse COVID-19 positive patients who were medically stable, meaning facilities that housed the most vulnerable populations were forced to introduce the virus into their midst. A nursing home in Queens received 2 coronavirus patients who had been discharged from a hospital but were still contagious and in need of care, along with a box containing body bags, the New York Post reported. An executive at the facility told the Post it had been free of the coronavirus prior to accepting those 2 patients. The executive also said that along with the 2 patients arrived a shipment of personal protective equipment and the body bags. My colleague noticed that one of the boxes was extremely heavy. Curious as to what could possibly be making that particular box so much heavier than the rest, he opened it, the executive told the Post. The first 2 coronavirus patients were accompanied by 5 body bags. The Post reported that within days, 3 of the bags were filled with the first of 30 residents who would die there. The nursing facility continued to receive shipments of 5 body bags per week since those first 2 patients arrived, and they have been needed. Unbelievable. Cuomo has blood on his hands. He really does. "There's no way to sugarcoat this," the nursing home executive told the outlet. "Why in the world would you be sending coronavirus patients to a nursing home where the most vulnerable population to this disease resides?" The executive added that their facility had admitted 17 coronavirus positive patients from nearby facilities, and they have done fairly well, while the patients who died were not tested or were waiting for the test results. "The rest of the people are dropping like flies, literally like flies, and most of them have been with us for years," the executive said. The Post reported that COVID-19 has killed at least 3,540 residents of New York's nursing homes and adult care facilities as of Wednesday, according to the most recent state health department data. Further, the Queens nursing facility is not alone in having the coronavirus injected into their facility due to the mandate from Governor Andrew Cuomo's administration. A nursing facility in Manhattan confirmed the Queens executive's situation, saying that they also receive weekly shipments of body bags, and added that the state mandate included no warning or time to prepare for accepting coronavirus patients. "By the time I even got to the work the next day, I had phone calls, emails from just about every hospital in the area," an administrator told the Post. The administrator added that previously the facility required 2 negative test results before we'd even consider taking someone into the building. Cuomo's office told the Post that the claim the governor has blood on his hands was disgusting and an attempt by nursing home administrators to deflect from their failures. Cuomo had previously said facilities that couldn't care for COVID-19 patients were supposed to transfer them elsewhere, and that they could ask the state health department for help with the transfer, but the March 25 mandate does not include instructions on how to do so. Cuomo suggested at a coronavirus briefing in Albany that the nursing homes weren't transferring patients because they'd lose money. And the regulation is common sense. If you can't provide adequate care, you can't have the patient in your facility, and that's your basic fiduciary obligation. I would say ethical obligation. And it's also your legal obligation, he said. Now, when a person gets transferred, they lose a patient. They lose that revenue. I understand, but the relationship is, the contract is, you have this resident, you get paid. You must provide adequate care. Well, if that's not the Webster's Dictionary definition of chutzpah and the DSM-5 diagnostic protocol for sociopathy and projection, then I don't know what is. Cuomo is criminally insane, along with his demon rat cohorts who believe murdering babies after they're born is a woman's right and an essential service, along with liquor sales, lottery tickets, and anything that puts the Benjamins in their pocket, while attending church looking like Darth Vader is not necessary. A few weeks ago, I told you that the Kung Flu was concocted in a bioweapon lab in Wuhan, China. Well, I must be a prophet or some shit, because it's now coming to light that this goes back to the Obama administration, and Dr. Fauci was one of the facilitators of this shit. Big Pharma is also a player, as is Bill Gates, Soros, and the usual scum-of-the-earth globalist douchebags.
Let's talk about segment 1. You know, most of you have seen my show from April 7th, in which I talked about the November of 2015 interview with the Italian media, in which many of the Wuhan virologists and researchers did an interview and told them at that time that they were splicing the genes of the great horseshoe bat with SARS-infected mice. And they were doing it over and over and over again in order to facilitate an animal-to-human transmission. Now, I covered that on April 7th. However, on the same exact day, the most awesome, and I will say it, awesome documentary came out called Origins of the Wuhan Virus, and the great patriot Joshua Phillips. And in that, what he did, and again, it is truly a masterpiece, and I'm going to show you a little bit of it here in a little bit, but it is truly a masterpiece if you haven't seen it. But what it did is it helped even me connect more of the dots that I didn't even know about. I knew that it was created in the Wuhan research facility, but I didn't know the name of the doctor, and I didn't know who the doctor was and all that. That documentary, which by the way is 100% accurate, was able to pinpoint who that person was. And in the documentary, Joshua Phillips correctly identified Dr. Xi Zhengli, or Dr. Shi Zhengli, as the main culprit. Here she is in this image here. Now, what I'm here to tell you is Joshua is absolutely correct, and I'm going to confirm it for you right now. But before I do, go ahead and roll this clip.
Since the SARS outbreak in 2003, Shi Zhengli has been conducting research on coronaviruses. From 2010 onward, the focus of Shi and her team was redirected to identifying the capacity for coronavirus transmission across species, specifically putting the spotlight on the S protein of the coronaviruses. In other words, her team's research in the Wuhan lab has been looking into the part that can make coronaviruses transmittable to humans. In June 2010, a team including Shi Zhengli published a paper. It describes research to understand the susceptibility of angiotensin converting enzyme 2 ACE2 proteins of different bat species to the S protein of the SARS virus. In the experiments, they also modified key amino acid conjugates to mutate the bat's ACE2 to examine compatibility with the SARS S protein. This paper demonstrated their awareness of the special relationship between the S protein and the ACE2 receptor. It also signified that Shi had unearthed the passageway for coronaviruses into human bodies. In October 2013, Shi and her team published a paper in the authoritative science journal Nature. They claimed a breakthrough in coronavirus research. What was their breakthrough? They successfully isolated 3 viruses from bats, one of which had an S protein that integrated with human ACE2 receptors. This effectively demonstrated the human infection of SARS-like viruses to humans without the need of an intermediary host. Then, in November 2015, Shi and her team at the Wuhan lab once again published a paper, this time in the British journal Nature Medicine. They discussed the creation of a synthetic virus, a self-replicating chimeric virus. This virus had the SARS virus as the framework, with the key S protein replaced by the one they had found in a bat coronavirus she mentioned in her 2013 paper. This new virus demonstrated a powerful ability for cross-species infection. The mice infected with this synthetic virus revealed severe lung damage with no cure. This symbolized that Shi's successful splicing of the SARS virus was a key to open the door to the cross-species transmission. What is startling is that these successful experiments on mice were only the tip of the iceberg. They planned to further experiment on primates. Although Shi Zhengli did not indicate any conclusion from this research, her move to research on primates suggests this was to more closely simulate the infection of humans with this new synthetic virus.
Now, here is the rest of that story. Dr. Zhengli actually worked on the very beginning stages of coronavirus research with U.S. doctors. That's right, with U.S. doctors. These doctors, and their goal initially, working with the Chinese, was to do some research on these viruses to figure out and prevent, obviously, a pandemic or a chandemic, as we are now witnessing. However, the Obama administration in 2014 stopped funding the program, pulled the Department of Homeland Security and Health and Human Services out of this program and decided that it was too risky. Okay? Now, this allowed the Chinese virologists led by Dr. Shi Zhengli to continue their research without any supervision or oversight of the United States and our doctors. Thanks, Obama. Really appreciate that one, too. Now, here is an official letter from the Health and Human Services talking about ending the funding for this program, as you can see here in this image. Now, after the United States involvement stopped, the Chinese Communist Party no longer had any oversight. They didn't have any supervision. And so what did they do? They kept on working on this research, and then they ordered Dr. Zheng Li to continue her research, which of course she did. Now, in a translated Chinese interview from 2017, Dr. Zheng Li reveals the truth and the goals of her research. And yes, it is frightening. She called herself a virus hunter. And as a virus hunter, she said that she would travel around the entire world looking for different types of viruses that have not yet infected human beings. We also learned that the SARS virus absolutely came from bats, and viruses that came from the bats require a host. And yes, not only SARS, but the coronavirus does as well. And who are those hosts? Well, you're looking at them. Us, Americans, people around the world, okay? Global citizens. She also said that the SARS virus in 2002 to 2003 was also detected from a bat, and that bat bit a civet cat, which was sold in the Guangdong markets. Now, what's interesting about the civet cat is that is actually an animal like a cat, almost like a, I don't know what would you call it, almost like a lynx, I guess. And what's interesting about it, and this is just a side note for, you science buffs out there, but they actually used to make perfume out of its anal glands. That's actually true. Now, I don't know what that has to do with bats and viruses, but that's what they said. The civet cat was bitten by one of these bats, and that was the first host, and it was sold at the Guangdong markets. Dr. Zheng Li then said something so evil and terrifying. In the lab where she works in Wuhan, China, okay, she has a room that she calls, quote, the mutation room. And inside the mutation room consists of living chimeric animals. Animals that have been mixed with multiple viruses in order to reach maximum potency. Chimeric animals, for you folks that don't know, are animals of different species and genetic buildup and makeup that are then fused together in a Frankenstein type of style. An example would be if you took a cat and a dog and fused them together, or a pig and a monkey, or obviously a bat and a mouse. So Dr. Shi Zhengli is basically the equivalent of Dr. Mengele of our time. And she sat there in that Wuhan research facility, and she kept working and working and splicing genes until she figured out how to get animal to human transmission. That is the full story and the truth about the origins of the Wuhan virus. We have a rogue nation in China that is not only out for world domination, but their number one target is to destroy America. And clearly, this was done on purpose. This was not done by accident. This is, in my opinion, firing the first shot. This is a declaration of war.
I must agree with Josh Bernstein. Along with the attempted smuggling of 25 tons of pure fentanyl across the Mexican border in August of 2019 that originated in China, an amount clearly not intended for sale but for poisoning our rivers and water supplies, is an overwhelming impetus for devastating retaliation by the United States. China has committed multiple acts of war against the United States, and we sit here with our thumbs up our ass playing diplomat. Here's diplomacy. One nuclear-tipped cruise missile right up your ass. Next! This is Dave from Net4 Truth USA Inglorious Patriots. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing this video. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your calls of encouragement. And most of all, thank you for your support. Please subscribe to our backup channels. Net4 Truth USA 2 Patriot channel, BitChute.com/net4 Truth USA, and drop.space/@Net4 Truth USA. We fly so close to the target, we are on our 5th fighter jet. We will be relentless and persistent until the enemies of freedom are defeated. You can support this channel by using the links in the description, but for a $100 donation, I will personally send you a autographed hardcover special edition copy of Land of Childhood's Fears. Also, visit my bookstore at lulu.com/Net4 Truth USA. If you are viewing this video on BitChute, you can use the links in the description to support us, or simply click the green $ dot on our video to support this channel. Thank you. Links are in the description section.